Okay, so let's talk about electives in America.
Mhm.
I have heard a few things that, everyone I know who wanted to go to America did their fifth year elective in America. I didn't. I went to Cambodia and Vietnam. My mum still hasn't let me go. She's like, you could have gone to Harvard for your elective. Instead, you went to that Thailand. I was like, no, mum, it's Cambodia. So firstly, to what extent do you have to do an elective in America? And what's the deal with this whole letter of recommendation stuff? So can we talk a bit about that?
Okay, sure. So electives, I'll be honest, from what I can tell, they are an important part of the application. It's not to say that it's an absolute requirement, but speaking to someone who maybe hasn't passed through their elective chunk in their in their med school careers yet, if they're in third year or younger than that, if you are considering coming to the US, it is something that should be at the forefront of your mind, because having clinical elective experience in the US is strongly recommended.
Okay.
Even on the websites, when you get around to your actual application cycle, I was reading the application requirements on every single website for every single hospital I applied to. So when it comes to electives, having some form of US clinical experience is pretty much crucial. It will really set you apart, not even set you apart. Nearly everyone who applies to the US as an international medical graduate almost is expected to have some level of US clinical experience.
It's like work experience.
Work experience when you're applying.
You
for
pretty
med
much
school.
have to have some work experience of some sort.
So whether that's there's a number of ways you can actually gain clinical experience in the US. So one of which is an elective, but we're going to go into the different kinds a little bit later.
Fine. But
it's very, very, very strongly recommended, and from our point of view, it's basically essential.
Okay, so why is elective such a big deal? What's...
So firstly, it's going to show the people who are going to be looking at your application, a year's time from now, or whenever you choose to apply, that you had some level of actual commitment. You've put down money, your time, and you've gone out to America, you've seen it firsthand, and that's really important to them. And I actually think it's very important to the applicant to get a real life kind of understanding of what clinical experience is in the US.
Okay.
Second thing is that it's almost the only way you're going to be able to get something called letters of recommendation, which we're going to cover in a whole separate chunk, from American physicians. And that's essentially crucial to your application as well. Having letters from American doctors who you've worked alongside, who can say, really great things about you. And those letters are part of your application when you come to apply for residency. And in addition to that, if you're out there face-to-face in an elective with a group of doctors, it's a chance for you to actually network and make connections.
Oh,
and
okay.
Networking, in contrast to, the UK, networking is quite a big deal in the US. It can actually make a difference to whether you get an interview at that institution. They might remember you. Oh, that was the student who did that and that and that, and they were such a go-getter, and she was, great. She could speak English fluently. She had a great British accent. So It's a great way to make those connections, which can actually be super beneficial when you come to apply. You're not just an anonymous name on an application, like a piece of paper. You are that person who came to their institution, and they'll remember you. And if you've written, I did an elective at Mayo Clinic, that will increase your chances of getting an interview at Mayo Clinic. It's not to say that it will, if you don't have an elective at various institutions, that you won't get an interview there, but
it's all part of the game. It increases the chances.
It's part of the hustle, and it's important to have even to show the people who are reading your application that you have a good, realistic understanding of what the American healthcare system involves, how it differs from your own experiences that you've gained over the last 6 years in medical school.
Okay.